Go ahead, Mr. Messina.
Good evening, everyone, to this evening's meeting of the Islip Zoning Board of Appeals. Notice is hereby given that due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and recent executive orders issued by the governor, the Town of Islip Zoning Board of Appeals hearing scheduled for Tuesday, December 15th, 2020 at 6 p.m. will be held electronically via Zoom webinar instead of an in-person public hearing, and we stream live over the internet. Dated December 4th, 2020, Islip, New York. John M. Lorenzo, Chairman of Zoning Board of Appeals. Mr. Chairman, first application tonight is number 731-20. Julio R. Orellana, permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-602 to leave two-story addition, 12.5 feet by 33 feet, having a side yard of 13.8 feet instead of required 14 feet, and a floor area ratio of 29.7% instead of permitted 25%, and to leave a shed having a side yard and rear yards of 3 feet instead of required 4 feet each, Residence A District, west of Freeman Avenue, number 452, 235.65 feet south of Wiley Street, Brentwood, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening, Ms. Trella.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting with offices at 1040 Terry Road, Ronkonkoma, New York.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Please, case.
So we're here to establish an accessory apartment. It is 766 square feet. The property is owner occupied and the driveway has been approved by engineering. We're also here for the FAR, which is 29.7% instead of the 25. A shed in the rear of the property that maintains 3 feet on both the side and the rear instead of 4 feet. It's about 200 square feet. And the two-story addition, which is 13.8 on the side yard instead of the required 14.
Right, all seems de minimis. Everything in the file for the establishment of an accessory apartment is in order. Driveway complies. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application and for the accessory apartment for a period of 3 years.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application
Aye.
passes.
Next application number 732-20, Ralph and Kim Marie Migliori. Permission to leave pool patio having side yards of 3 feet and 5 feet instead of required 6 feet each, rear yard occupancy of 71% instead of the permitted 30%, and to leave retaining wall 34 inches high, having a side yard of 0.5 feet instead of required 4 feet, Residence A District, west side of Tallulah Lane, number 102, 737.62 feet southwest of Wagstaff Lane, west of Islip, New York. Ms. Trella.
Good evening again. At this time, the applicant respectfully requests an adjournment to January 19th, I believe was the date we had spoken about, Mary.
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn the application to January 19th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Next application number 733-20, Celia Nascimento, permission to leave deck having a rear yard of 3.6 feet and patio having a side yard of 1.2 feet instead of the required 4 feet each, Residence AA District, south side of Highland Road, number 42, 402.98 feet west of Myrtle Avenue, Central Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Myself. Good evening.
And you are, please?
Celia Nascimento. I apologize. The homeowner. Sorry.
Ms. Nascimento, can we have your address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. It's 42 Highland Road in Central Islip, New York, 11722.
Great. You have a deck a little too close to the rear yard and a patio a little too close to the side yard. It appears from
Yes.
the patio is concrete and on grade, and it only goes down a portion of your property. And the deck,
It's in the back of on the side of the house, the patio. It's not in the front.
yep. See that deck seems a minimus too. It's on grade also.
Yeah. There's a fence that we put up in front of like the old fence. So it might actually be 4 feet, but when you put the wood fence in front of the metal fence that was there, I don't know if it's the neighbor behind me or if it came with my house when I first had it, it might be like a couple of inches, so
They measure
it's so
up
minuscule.
and not the fences on the surveys, but that's okay. We see these a lot, so.
Okay.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Granted.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy holidays.
You too.
Thanks.
Next application number 640-20, Anam and Syed Iqbal. Permission to leave hot tub having a building separation of 4.8 feet instead of the required 6 feet. Residence A District, west side of Saxon Avenue, number 1278, 200 feet south of Geneva Street, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Just moved him in. Let's see if he needs a little help.
He needs to unmute himself.
Here we go.
Evening.
Herself.
Okay, good evening,
Excuse me.
everybody.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
My address is 1278 Saxon Avenue, Bay Shore, NY 11706.
Great. And your name is?
My name is Saeed Iqbal.
There you go. That's two of you under the same name, so please forgive me for my confusion before.
And
Robert, do you have a hot tub with a building separation a little too close to the house? We see that a lot in the past. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Granted. Have a great holiday.
thank you,
Good evening.
everybody. Good,
Next-
thank you. Have
Thank
a nice
you.
day. Happy
too.
holiday.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Next application number 734-20, James Harnett II and Tara M. Hartnett. Permission to leave above ground pool having a rear of 8.9 feet instead of the required 10 feet. Residence B District, west side of Atlantic Avenue, number 338, 246.26 feet south of Pacific Street, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes, present.
Yes.
Okay, name and address for the record, please, and then the chairman will take you the rest of the way.
James A. Hartnett II. Address is 338 Atlantic Avenue, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
Great. How are you tonight?
I am okay, thank you. Thank you for taking.
You have an above ground pool a little bit too close. How long has that pool been up?
1 year.
All right. Seems like your property a little skewed on that one side.
Yeah.
So what we do here in the zoning board with something this close with an above ground pool, we do something called life of the pool. If you have to fix the pool, replace the liner, fix the sidewall, you're gonna have to move it to a compliance. All right?
Understood.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to grant the application for the life of the pool.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next
Have a good
application
night.
you too. Number 735-20, Bridget Johnson. Permission to leave shed 12 feet by 16 feet, having a side yard of 2.8 feet and drive yard on side property line, not having a required setback of 4 feet each. Residence A District, west side of Peters Boulevard, number 1350, 350 feet north of Chenango Drive, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Did anybody just move her in? Oh, here she is. Hold on, I got you, Bridget. There we go. Here she is.
She needs to unmute herself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, got it. Okay. I'm in.
There's an echo.
You have two devices on because you got to shut one of them off.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, how are you tonight?
Okay, I'm fine, a little nervous because
Don't
this
be
is,
nervous, we don't bite.
I know, I believe it or not, about 45 years ago, that was the last time I was before the board and I know everything goes okay.
That's great. Well, just have your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Okay, it's Bridget E. Johnson, 1350 Peters Boulevard, Bay Shore, New York.
Great. And you have a shed that's a little bit too close to the side yard. How long has that been up?
45 years.
Oh, gee whiz. And you have an asphalt driveway with some brick pavers that are on the line, but it's a very small portion of the northerly side of your property line. So I believe that it seems de minimis. We'll see if anyone has anything to say about this. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted, Ms. Johnson. Have a nice night and have a good holiday.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next application number 699-20, John S. and Maria Marrow, trustees of the John S. and Maria Marrow Trust, permission to erect one-story addition 5.8 feet by 21 feet to attach an accessory structure to dwelling, and to erect a second-story addition 20.5 feet by 20.75 feet, leaving a side yard of 6.5 feet instead of required 14 feet, to erect two-story addition 15 feet by 20.75 feet, leaving a side yard of 7.6 feet instead of the required 14 feet, and a rear yard of 17 feet instead of the required 25 feet, to erect a second-story deck 6 feet by 24.5 feet, leaving a rear yard of 17 feet instead of the required 25 feet, to use for two-family, family use only, pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-419.1, with additions resulting in 53% increase in the square footage of the primary house instead of the permitted 33.3%, and leaving a floor area ratio of 29.44% instead of permitted 25%, and to leave a driveway on the side property line not having required setback of 4 feet, Residence A District, east side of Southern Boulevard, number 197, 71.73 feet south of Town Line Road, Hauppauge. Is there anyone here for the applicant? And if so, please state your name and address for the record.
I've moved two people in.
I see Mr.
Maria.
Aponte there. He needs to unmute himself.
Okay, and Maria. Okay, Nicholas.
Mr.
Ponte is-
Nicholas Aponte's here.
Got it.
Good evening.
And your mother-in-law has
Good eve-
moved in as well. Maria, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Name and address for the record, whoever wants to speak.
I am Maria Marrow, and it's 197 Southern Boulevard, Hauppauge, New York.
Great. Nicholas Aponte, you speaking?
Nicholas Aponte, 21 Marlin Lane, Hauppauge, New York, 11788.
Great. Are you the design professional, expediter? Just helping out?
Okay.
No,
I'm not. I'm actually her son-in-law.
Oh, all right. That's great.
I hope you're not here to oppose the application, so.
It's actually for me, so I'm hoping it goes well.
otherwise they're on the street. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
And unfortunately, I wanted to have the architect join in, but he's not in, he's got some health issues right now. So hopefully we can address anything that we need to, and we'll go from there.
All right. So you want to go through the application, or you want me to break it down for you?
Well, you can just break it down. I do know that, as I heard in the prior application, that you do need the driveway done first. And for us, that's not completed yet, because I kind of want to know that this would be approved before I go do something to the driveway. That is not necessary for me, expense wise and everything else, if it wouldn't be approved. So if it hinges on that, then by all means, we would go ahead and do that.
Great. So right off the bat, the permission to erect a one-story addition to attached structure, accessory structure to dwelling.
Right.
And erect second-story addition, leaving side yard of 6.5 instead of required 14. That's over 50% relaxation. Do you have any? I've shared my screen. I'm not sure if everyone can see it or not.
I can see our house on there. You mean? I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Okay.
So that detached garage is the one you're going to attach, you're asking permission to attach to the house and put a second.
Correct. Yes, the garage, yes.
So do you have any precedent regarding the side yard of 6.5 instead of 14 in the area within 500 square feet?
There is a similar structure, but in speaking to, I believe, Mary earlier, I think she said that their setback was not the same as ours. So, unfortunately, I did see that and send the pictures. But as far as the precedent for that, I don't believe that I would have one. I would have to do more research on that. But You know, this house also was, I understand what the codes are today, and this house was built in 1942. So the garage where ours is, and our neighbors who we've, you know, checked with them, and they don't have a problem with it. Their garage is actually really close to our fence line too. It's just the way it's been and grandfathered. So I understand what you're saying.
The issue is that the moment you attach to your house, it holds
Right.
that back,
It
right, detached.
It
right?
changes it. I understand that.
So unless you have, right off the bat, unless you have some sort of precedent, which I'm not too, I believe you're going to be hard pressed to find for
Right.
a 6.5 side yard instead of 14. And then adding a second story addition on it, you know, if someone in the neighborhood comes down, if we grant it to you and someone in the neighborhood comes down and says, I want to level a house and build it, you know, 6 feet from the side property line, we can't say no now because, and that's
Right.
what the neighborhood. So that's the issue that we have with right off the bat with that. I have anyway with that side yard. Would you like some more time to do some more research and see if you can find some?
Well, I mean, if what you're saying is if we don't find that, then we're not going to be able to do that, basically.
I'm saying that we have to vote on it with the board, but
Okay.
unless you have some
Precedent in
yes,
all of Islip Township, you're saying? All of it?
No.
it has to be within 500 feet of your dwelling. So a
All
rate
right.
of 500 feet. If you take the time and sit with planning, I don't know if you have yet or not, they'll
Right.
probably be able to say what they have seen in the past or what has you know for your area. They can give you a little bit better of a road to travel with this. I'm just starting. We can keep going, but I'm just starting right off the bat, and that's a large relief,
Right.
in my opinion, for what you want to do with it.
Right. And that, I guess, is the opinion of, well, you're the chairman. So I know how that works.
To help you. I'm not here to hurt you. So if you want to keep going, we'll definitely keep going.
No, right.
But I'm just saying right off the bat, you
Yeah.
have a large relief you're asking for with no.
Okay. So can I ask John, are there any other issues that would be, like you said, that would be large, you know, that you would have to, I mean, I'll have to look for precedent on that, but.
Well, so just right off the bat with the, you know, with the side yard of 6.5 instead of 14, then you want to put a second story addition on top of that, I'm believing. I'm assuming.
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
So that's going to be the issue right there with just that, so I guess that's the same issue. All right. And then you have the second story deck. I'm assuming that's off of the now framed garage that's detached. It's going to be attached.
Correct.
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 17.
Where is that deck going to face? Is that going to face onto the pool? Is that your plan?
Yes, yes, it will.
Okay.
So the second story deck will face
The pool.
the pool.
That's at least the mitigating factor.
That's a mitigating factor right there. You're right. Thank you. And then family use only.
Yes.
I believe everything's in order. It says it's based on medical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
The driveway, I don't believe has been approved, but you said you're working on.
Yeah.
We don't require approval for family use only.
Perfect.
This application first came in as an accessory apartment, but
Right.
the applicant it was well over 800 square feet, the proposal. So they do meet the criteria as well and didn't know that they did for family use only.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I appreciate that. And then we have that new code section with the additions resulting in 53%.
Yeah, actually, that has been amended and removed since September 15th.
Okay,
So we can amend to remove that if you want.
sure. No,
Make a motion to remove that portion of the application, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Mr. Chairman, can I just, for clarification, I believe well, whatever. The idea on the first part is to put a second floor on the garage, attach it to the house, and then make it living space?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
generally the principle?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, just to the applicants, you heard from our chairman. I think that's coming from all of us. I mean, that's a very, 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 very difficult sell, which it's just can't happen.
Wait, is it a difficult sell or it can't happen, Mr. Wexler? Which is
Well,
it?
I don't,
Boy,
Let's-
talk about the
I'll be-
Grinch, man.
I do appreciate your straightforwardness.
I want to be blunt. I don't,
I understand.
I only know one speed, but we've never granted anything like that. It's almost impossible.
But you'd have to come up with a pretty good argument based on, the statutory factors that apply for variances. But Mr. Wexler's right, it would be a challenge.
It'd be a challenge. And Ms. Marrow, the rest of your application doesn't seem that bad. The 29.4 instead of 25. We see up to 30 all the time. It's just, the family use only seems to be in order. It's just just in my opinion, you could tell me what you want to do, but if you don't have some information regarding that side yard and attaching that detached structure, maybe you want to take an adjournment and meet with planning and see what you could do, and maybe you can tweak the application so that you can get to the spot you'd want to be at without us saying no right off the bat, and then it's a little bit harder to unwind at that moment. That's something.
Yeah. Mr. Lorenzo, I would want to do that. Can I, and I guess this is where I would address this with planning. Is it because of that it's the second story that's becoming the issue? Like if it was just a one story, would it be as much of an issue, or it's just the side setback that really is the problem, no matter if it's one or two stories?
The side setback is an issue, and the second story makes it more of an issue.
Okay.
It exacerbates it. That's right.
Okay.
So, but if you can find something, maybe planning, Hauppauge's large, and I know we've had some wild applications up in Hauppauge. Maybe there's some information that will help your case, and then we'd be looking at this a little bit differently. But without that information,
right,
I don't think it's fair. You can do what you like. It's your choice. But if you'd like an adjournment, we can give you some time to meet with Deidre Ryan over at planning and discuss some options that you may have.
Yes, Mr. Lorenzo, I would appreciate that, because I don't want to just throw in the towel that quickly on it. It's a necessity for my daughter and my son-in-law and for myself. So I would like to just try and, work something out, and hopefully planning would be able to help us with that. And I will certainly search for precedent. What did you say? The whole town of Hauppauge, or what were you saying about 500 feet? What were you addressing?
A radius map around your dwelling of 500 feet, and they see if there's been any precedents or any applications that were approved for side yards, and we go through the whole thing. They'll have a quick synopsis of your area real quick for you.
And the planning would help. The planning board, you're saying, would help with that? You're saying?
Planning department.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. So it's not as bad as I thought, but then there's one major hurdle.
That's very positive. I like that.
There you go.
So how about we'll give you an open adjournment, and when you're ready, you can call Mary back, and we can get you back on the schedule as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the application with open adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appreciate it. Have a great night. Have a good holiday.
Thank you. You too. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you. You too.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Next application number 736-20, Donald Wally, permission to leave shed 4.1 feet by 7.3 feet, having a rear yard of 9.7 feet and a side yard of 5.1 feet instead of the required 10 feet each. Residence BAA District, west side of Oak Walk, number 52, 220 feet north of Central Walk, Fair Harbor, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? And if so, your name and address for the record, please.
I believe that's removed, Mr. Messina.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's been withdrawn by request from the applicant's attorney. The shed has been moved to a conforming location and been issued a certificate of occupancy.
Thanks for letting me know, Ms. Passini.
Sorry about that.
That was
Sorry.
very considerate of you.
Gave me time to move some people around.
Number 737-20. Scott A. and Donna DiBeradino, permission to erect one-story addition 6.5 feet by 28 feet, leaving a side yard of 9.4 feet instead of required 18 feet. Residence AA District, west side of Ludlow Way, number 14, 192.88 feet south of Bayview Drive, Oakdale, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record. And Mr. DiBernardino, if it's you, please unmute yourself.
It is him.
I know.
I've given him extra challenges. It's been revealed that he's a design professional, and I've asked him to share his own documents.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry.
Good evening. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, sir.
Name and address. For the record.
It's Scott Anthony DeBerardino, 14 Ludlow Way, Oakdale, New York. I am the architect. It's also my house. And we are requesting side yard variance to reduce what we currently have at 15.9 feet. We're requesting a reduction down to 9.4 feet. The reason that we're asking for that is the goal is to try and make our kitchen bigger. And the kitchen in this house is currently landlocked in the center of the south side of the house, thus requiring me to try and get a little bit more space on that side. So that's what we're requesting.
All right. So you're asking for approximately 50% relaxation. Do you have any possible precedent in the area with less than side yards than 18?
In my speaking with Deirdre last week, she had indicated that the precedent in our neighborhood is 10 feet, reduction to 10 feet.
All right. So do you plan B at 10 feet or plan B, you're sticking with plan A?
I like plan A, but if plan A doesn't work, I'd rather leave here with plan B than have an adjournment.
As Mr. Wexler and other members of the board would say, that when we keep creeping up with the precedent, it keeps going further and further. When does it end? Right, Mr. Wexler? Does that sound right?
Yeah. I don't know why you put my name in the same sentence, but that's okay.
Okay, but just I'll throw the challenge out. Mr. DiBernardino, if you have an argument to be made as to why it should be, a little bit closer to the side yard, perhaps than existing precedent, we'll entertain it.
I don't have an existing precedent.
Okay, there you go.
The reason is purely selfish. I'm just trying to get
No, you're honest, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can I just ask Mr. DiBernardino, how did you get to 15.9 in the first instance?
Where are you 15.9, Mr. Wexler?
I thought the applicant said that currently holds 15.9.
Yeah, that's what the plot plan is. That's what the house holds right now.
That's from a previous
I was
survey.
just wondering I was just curious if it's zoned at 18, how to get this, was that by fiat or by application? I'm just curious.
I believe this area originally had 14-foot side yard setbacks back in the day, and they were changed to be more stringent at 18 feet. So you'll see both sides of our dwelling, as well as the ones adjacent to it, north and south, are pre-existing non-conforming.
Actually, this case and ironically, the case right after you of Kevin and Mary Gleason are both in the same filed map, which I've given you. I'm sharing my screen. You can see, Bill, as you've pointed out, most of the houses are on 75 by 150s.
Yeah.
So they're developed as sorry?
So with the exception of one or two of the odd lots, that's correct.
Right. So they're zoned as Residence A parcels, quarter acre, roughly. Yet they're designated with AAA designation, which was probably done at some time to save the open space in the surrounding area.
So we're really looking at technically 9.4 instead of 14.
Correct.
Well, that's a lot of good information to give us there.
The precedent is still 10, Mr. Chairman.
I know.
You slaves to precedent.
Yes.
I'd like to be a trailblazer.
In my opinion, I think we can move this along pretty quick if you're looking for Plan B at 10. But it's up, if you want to make your argument, then you're more than welcome to.
Well, it is one story and one story only, so it would be less impactful than if it was 2 stories in height.
But 10 is such a nice round number. It's easy to build. Your builders won't make any errors trying to find fractions.
Well, actually, funny you should mention that, because the reason we got to 9.4 is we pushed the house out 6.5, which is a nice even number. We were trying to make it easy for them. 6 feet, 6 inches. No fraction.
I think 10 is the number that we're all believing in.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Sullivan, I will take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application at 10 feet instead of the required 18.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application granted at 10, so have a great night and great holiday.
Thank you. You folks
Merry
also.
Christmas.
Holiday. Take care.
Next application, number 638-20, Kevin and Mary Gleason, permission to leave a water feature attached to an in-ground pool having a rear yard of 8.4 feet instead of the required 18 feet, and a shed having a rear yard of 1.8 feet instead of the required 2 feet. Residence AAA District, west side of Shore Drive, 75 feet south of Cross Road, Oakdale, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Just move them in.
She's here. She just has to unmute herself.
Let me find them. Oh, I hear noises. Oh, let's see. Okay, in a second. Mary, if you can hear us, you'll have to unmute yourself.
There you go.
Okay, gotcha. There you go. I unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Name and address,
Okay.
please.
Okay. There we go. Okay. There should be someone else here also, but I'm the owner, Mary Gleason, 272 West Shore Road, Oakdale.
Who else?
We have somebody with their hand up. Anthony Buglino?
Yes,
Okay, here he comes.
he will address the water feature.
Who is he? Is he a design professional?
He's actually from the company who built my pool and, and did the water feature.
Thank you.
That's him?
Yourself, Mr. Buglino.
Sounds like a dog.
Yeah, that's probably mine.
Oh, he's muted. The design, the pool professional's muted.
Mr. Buglino, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself, please. There you go. I still can't hear you.
All right, maybe we'll hear the dog instead.
That might just be the presentation of the night, Mr. Wexler.
Yeah. I think your dog made a good application.
I think so too.
I'm ready to vote.
Is your design professional going to get on board, or should we just?
You know what? He actually has to do the water feature, and I guess the other variance is for the shed. So I guess that would be me.
So you can't.
You know, while we're waiting, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think the water feature is really de minimis.
I agree, Mr. Chairman.
I agree with you also. And the
All
shed-
right.
So I think we should keep moving if we.
Just have a question. Did we grant this pool with a rear yard of 10 already in the past?
Yes, we had they gave me two variances for the back and the side.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm ready to vote.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to grant the application.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Have a great night. Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Thanks.
Next application, number 739-20, Christopher and Lauren Pasilico. Permission to leave shed having a rear yard of 2.2 feet instead of the required 4 feet, and to erect a 6-foot fence on the property line, not having a required setback of 10 feet. Residence A District, northeast corner of Brooklyn Boulevard, number 1453, and Chestnut Drive, Bayshore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lauren Pasilico, 1453 Brooklyn Boulevard, Bayshore, New York.
Good evening, Mr. Silico. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So part of the application, it appears you were here back in 2015, and that was approved, the shed having 2.2 instead of 4,
Yes.
the zoning board decision. So why are you back here for that?
We extended the shed on one side and made it a little bit bigger. It's essentially the same shed, just a little bit bigger. So we thought that the variance, which was already granted for the that one side, was still good for it. So I know
So
we
you
have to
could go
back
down
and-
that whole, according to that theory, you could go down the whole side of the property like that, huh?
We didn't make it that big.
How much did you add, ma'am?
I think we added about 4 feet to the shed. 6 feet. We added 6 feet to the shed. So we do know that now we need to go back and get a permit for the bigger shed, which we're going to do, but we knew we needed the variance for it anyway. So we wanted to get the variance first before we went and applied for the permit for the larger shed.
All right. And you also have a 6-foot fence on a property line, not having the required 10 feet.
Right, because we have a corner lot, so the fence where it is on the property line, it's always been there. It was always a 6-foot fence, and it is actually 14 feet from the street on that second front yard, and it's about 50 feet from the corner where the actual street is. And there's a stop sign on that corner. It's, let's see, 32 feet from the stop sign and 42 feet from the sidewalk. So where the corner, you know, the lot is, there's really not that much of a visibility issue. It's always been 6 feet. We did just make it 4 feet because we were concerned about this. And now we don't really have any privacy in the backyard. Our windows on that side of the house are all bedrooms. We have small children. You can see right into the house now with the 4-foot fence. So we really were hoping to keep it at 6 feet so we could go back up there and just kind of have privacy back. And
So the
we have a pool now too.
I feel you're paying
So we're
100%.
I'm sorry?
I feel you're paying 100%, but unfortunately, your property is about 14,000 square feet, and if you were around 12,000, we wouldn't be even having this conversation, but you're not.
Mr. Chairman, looking at the aerial, as we do, remember with the purpose behind, as I understand it anyway, behind not having the 6-foot fences on property lines is to prevent that walled in look, right? As you go down the street.
I agree with you.
Okay,
Listen, I hate
this parcel, because of the setback from the street, even if one were to put in a sidewalk, the town would have put in a sidewalk, I think still lives up to the spirit of the code. And, you know, we're not accomplishing anything by denying this variance. We're not preventing anything by denying the variance requested here. We're still living, like I said, within the spirit of the code and fulfilling its purpose. So
I agree with you.
I would respectfully submit that.
I take a different, I think we are setting up a precedent, and we'd have to grant it to the other people similarly situated. And
Yeah,
we have
well, you know,
kept a
that
pretty tight line on it. So
I agree with you, Mr. Wexley. We would similarly situated where you had a setback because of the extreme size of the right of way, and the code of the purpose is fulfilled. I see no reason why we wouldn't want to give it to somebody similarly situated. You know, whether or not we want to draw a line and say no, never, that's a different issue. But I think the facts here are such that when you apply the statutory factors, you could very easily come to a conclusion that this is not an inappropriate request.
Oh, I thought we've already determined giving up to 12,000 square feet the benefit of the variance.
I think what Mr. Messina is saying, though, Mr. Wexler, is that the situation of this property, the way it sits in the right of way, is a reason for variance. If this did not have a right of way to Chestnut Drive,
right,
area, and it was up against Chestnut Drive, then I think in my opinion, his argument would be a little different.
Right, you're exactly right.
Could we see the aerial again?
Mary,
I didn't appreciate the right of way. Our vice chairman may be right.
It happens a couple of times a year, Mr. Wexler.
see that big right
Can
away?
I add?
Okay.
No, don't add anything.
Wait, a second. Whoever controls that cursor, could you point out the right of way?
Right there, that whole area, see that?
Oh, that's the right of way. I see. And what's the distance? What
Uh,
is that,
Oh, now
about
you're
6 feet?
John, is the edge of pavement shown on the survey?
No.
It doesn't look correct on our nice
It doesn't
Simmons
look
survey.
correct on the survey at all, so I wouldn't even know how to measure that there.
My husband actually went out. It measures 14 feet from Chestnut, where the street is, to the fence.
Oh, that's 14 feet?
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
But her property line, obviously, yeah, doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Our vice chairman, I think he's right. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to
Thank you.
resign from the board at this point because things are never going to get better than this for me.
December 15, 2020.
A day and time that will live in infamy.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to grant the application, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Granted, have a great night and a great holiday.
Thank you very much. You all too.
Thank
Exactly.
you, Mr.
Oh,
for showing me my errant way.
it was not errant, Mr. Wexler. You
No,
are
I'm glad you pointed that out. I
you
didn't
are the
catch that.
defender of the values in this town when it comes to land use. So I applaud you for that. Next
No, I'm glad
application,
you pointed that out.
40-20, Joseph L. Morezzi and Marisol Carrillo Morezzi. Permission to erect a second-story addition, 36.1 feet by 28.2 feet, leaving a front yard of 33.2 feet instead of the required 40 feet and a side yard of 3 feet instead of the required 14 feet to leave above-ground pool 24 feet diameter, having a rear yard of 6.3 feet and a side yard of 12 feet instead of the required 14 feet each, patio on side property line instead of the required 4 feet, Residence A District, west side of Richland Boulevard, number 1310, 175 feet south of Montauk Drive, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Thank you.
Charles Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, 11782, representing the property owner.
And how are you this evening?
Good, I'm good. I hope everybody is well.
Thank you.
As stated in the call, homeowner seeks permission to maintain the above-ground pool with non-conforming side and rear yard setbacks. The patio on the right-hand side of the detail with zero permission to construct a second floor addition with non-conforming front and side yard setbacks to a non-conforming lot to a house that was built circa 1910 on a piece of property that was subdivided that left an existing 3-foot side yard setback. Apparently, the setback distance to the house on the south conforms to the 14-foot setback. And that house is also, well, is currently a 2-story house. So the difference in ridge height that we would be moving up with the addition to the second floor is approximately 6 feet at about 28 feet above grade. And the house on the south side property ridge height is approximately 27 feet.
Charlie, is this the right street view?
That is correct.
Which one is it? The greenhouse on the right?
Correct, the greenhouse on the right. It's
Okay.
listed as a 1.5-story
Yeah, I
dwelling.
get it. So what would your response be to say that, you know, you have a 3-foot side yard as it is, and going up another story is really exacerbating
Correct.
what is already a pretty tough condition?
Yes, my response is who subdivided the property and left them with
But
only
they
3 feet?
subdivided it with a single story there, not with not with two.
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
Sure, they subdivided it, leaving a single story dwelling there, not a two-story dwelling. They might not have, whoever did the subdivision, might not have approved it were it a two-story on the 3 feet from the property line, right?
I agree with you, Mr. Nacin, but the driveway on the other side, I would say there's more of an argument there, but there is a nice buffer between both of the houses, which the one house does hold a second story as it is.
But it's
I
not
agree
3
with
feet.
Mr. Messina.
Yeah.
The subdivider got the benefit of the subdivision, leaving a ridiculous 3-foot side yard. And now, once again, they want to exacerbate it by going up. I think that's just too burdenous on the property. Somebody got the benefit of it. It's not as though it was by an act of erosion.
Why should my client and the property owner get the brunt of this when this was
Brody,
created?
can I finish?
Sorry.
But that's not the way the law works. The person who divided it got the benefit of it. The next purchaser can't say, oh, I had nothing to do with that. Otherwise, there would never be any accountability.
And also, you got the, quite frankly, you bought with knowledge of the fact that there was a variance, right, Mr. Wexler?
Oh, definitely.
What would this do to the neighborhood if we were to grant this property owner a second story addition? The house holds it at 3 feet. There's 14, 15 feet maybe more in between the two houses. The one to the south of it's a second story. Where is the issue with the neighborhood if we allow this gentleman instead of having a 1.5 story, have a 2 story, just to straighten that roof line out? He has a 1.5 story already.
So 2 things I would say to that, Mr. Chair. Number one is, would you ever grant 3 feet on a side yard on a subdivision? I don't think any of us would ever vote to approve that to begin with. So we're left with a condition that none of us like. And again, it exacerbates it. Not that precedent is everything. You hear me say that every week now. But the fact of the matter is, I can't think of a single instance in the entire town where you have a single family dwelling like that, 3 feet from the property line and 2 stories. And there's a good reason for it, because it's intrusive onto the other neighbor's privacy, light, air, ventilation. We can go on and on. I just think it's a very dangerous.
I appreciate that. This is a 1.5 story dwelling already. It's not like he has a
okay, so why make it worse?
I don't know if it's that much worse.
But it is worse. Do you agree that it's worse?
I believe your argument, I agree. I believe your argument, Mr. Chairman, begs the issue by saying, what harm could granting this do? What harm could any grant do this family home? Suppose every home was set back 50 feet. Somebody wanted to be set back 10 feet. What harm would it do? It wouldn't change the environmental. It wouldn't change the nature. I mean, you can go through that list. So it begs the question. I agree with Mr. Messina. It makes it worser, if that's a word.
I'm willing to
the area that when Mary spun around of the 2-story houses all around across the street next to it
at 3 feet.
They got, but
sorry, John.
Also, the person who subdivided it probably built the house to the left and got the benefit of that building ridiculously close.
But what does that have to do with the
we
guy
flip
who
flop
owns
to
the property now? What does it have to do with the guy who owns the property now? The guy got the benefit of the subdivision. We moved on from that.
I'm sorry?
The guy who owns the property now is quite frankly, paid what he paid for the dwelling because of all of the facts and circumstances that went into the features of that property. And I'm sure he got a better price because he had a 1.5 story on the property line. And probably everybody told him, hey, you're never going to be able to get any more relief on this. So, that factors into price. Look, I'm willing to reserve decision on this, and we can look and apply maybe each of the statutory factors. And maybe in the end, my opinion will change. But I just have a difficult time voting to approve a second story 3 feet from the property line. I just,
I would,
in
I think
in
we
the
should reserve.
vacuum, that's a problem for me.
I think we should reserve too. I'm not, I didn't decide on it either way, but I think we should reserve and discuss it.
I think I would like to do that also. Let's just talk about the other few issues.
Yeah, sure.
Application before we do that. You have an above ground pool, side at 6'3" and 12 instead of 14.
Correct.
How long has that pool been up?
They bought the property with the pool on it, so it's well over 10 years.
Do we have any precedent of relief for pools? No.
In the area, I was unfortunate to get in touch with planning too late today. But one was just granted prior on a different piece of property. I know it's not the same area, but.
We both suffer from the fact that Ms. Ryan isn't here tonight, Mr. Brody. So I'm not opposed to you submitting that in the next week or so if the rest of the board is okay with that.
Yep.
Give you some time to utilize the town resources and make your case.
Thank you.
All right.
But with regard to the pool, as was mentioned in the previous case about it being either removed and items of that sort, that it would have to be put in its proper location.
All right. Well, we're going to take some time to review this file anyway. So if you have some information from planning and get in touch with them, that would be something helpful that you can send over to us.
Okay, not a problem.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to reserve decision.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rudy, we have 62 days by law. We'll do the best we can and the quickest we can. Have a great holiday.
Okay, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
You also. Thank you.
Next application is number 741-20, MBGT 63 Trust. Permission to leave in-ground pool with waterfall having a rear yard of 3 feet instead of the required 10 feet. Pool patio having a side yard of 4 feet instead of the required 6 feet. Roofed over patio to detached garage having a side yard of 9.9 feet instead of the required 10 feet. And 26.6% rear yard landscaping instead of the required 40%. Residence B District, east side of Pineview Boulevard, number 36, 150 feet north of Potter Avenue, Central Islip, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Kevin, can you hear us?
There he is.
How are you, sir? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
We can see you, sir. We just can't hear you.
How about now?
There you go.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Kevin Guilfoyle, Island-Wide Permit Services, 86 Center Street, Ronkonkoma, New York, for the applicant.
How are you today?
Okay.
Would you like to state your case?
Yes, Mr. Lorenzo. My client had a busy time in his backyard with a lot of landscaping items. In particular, I had forwarded a memo to you on December 10th outlining the various items on there, with the exception of the rear yard landscaping. There was a little discrepancy, I guess, with the change of the code on September 15th. But the pool is actually holding 10.1 feet. The waterfall collection of rock wall there is roughly about 3 feet, and the existing slide is about 4.5 feet. The pool patio running along the side of the house is showing about a 4-foot setback that is at grade, and it is concrete with some pavers. And it's well screened, as you can see in the photo, from the adjacent neighbor. The existing garage was CO'd back in 1978, and I believe that was holding a 9.9 feet. And then when the additional roof over was put on, I guess that triggered the variance. But I believe that in the area, there is precedence for garages holding that side yard setback. The item that I'm a little confused about, and I'm not certain of the new changes in the code, is the rear landscaping requirement, whether the pools in the patio, not pools in the patio, but the pool and the hot tub and the pond are actually excluded from that ratio or not. If they're not, it looks like we're holding a 26.9 rear yard coverage of landscape.
Pavers are landscaping, huh? I know one member of the board who might think that, but he's not here tonight.
Oh.
Ms. Pissarro, could you put up the picture that showed the slide and its proximity to the fence or whatever again?
Oh,
please,
okay.
that you
Hold
had
on. I was just going to give you the aerial.
I'm sorry.
That's
give that
okay.
to-
Let
No,
me give you
that's-
the aerial. I'm going to give you the aerial first because I was almost there.
Yeah, great.
Here it comes.
I might not need the rest.
I just wanted you to see Central Islip High School or middle school. Oh, it's
elementary.
Okay, it's an elementary school behind.
So that's my point. Is the and you might be able to see it from this picture. So if you get on that slide, if you look over that fence, you're looking into the school property, right?
Right.
Let's go back. Parking,
not looking into the neighbor's property is my point.
No.
Okay,
School
thank
parking
you.
lot.
Thank you. That was the only
Back to
question I
that
had.
slide. Here it is. Slide with the slide. Oh, if you get onto that slide, I see what you're saying.
See how
Yep.
high up you are. But if you can only look into the school parking lot, God bless you. I don't know what you're going to see there.
That's what these tall light posts are, right, Kevin? That's the parking lot of the.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. You see the parking lot lights.
So Mary, can you maybe enlighten us? I wish Deidre was here. I hope she's feeling better. But regarding the 26.6 rear yard landscaping instead of required 40, that's something new, correct?
Yes, it's new, and I wish I could enlighten you.
How new is it,
It's
Ms. Pissarro?
September 15 was a batch of code amendments. So it's an attempt to be the inverse of rear yard occupancy. I think the attempt was positive. It was to encourage green rather than discourage pavement.
When was this application filed?
The original denial, Mr. Messina, was filed from the building department on September 24th. However, it had to be revised
When did you submit your application?
in September, early September.
You're right. Prior to the code amendment is my point, right?
Yeah.
But there was rear yard occupancy was in the code.
I'm not arguing that, Ms. Pissarro. I'm just saying it seems a little harsh to me to apply an ordinance when you already have the application in. And this is just my thinking. Have the application in and you're acting in good faith trying to legalize something. And then when they change the rules of the game on you when you're already underway, maybe an analysis under the rear yard occupancy might be in order for us to kind of gauge what the applicant was up against when they submitted the application.
I think that's been done, right? Right, Kevin, John, in that file, you should have both denials. They should hopefully be stapled together.
Yeah.
One might say old and one might say new.
Yep.
Does the older one have rear yard occupancy?
41.5%.
41.5 instead of required 40.
So,
Yeah.
it's my
barely.
understanding that applicants are being given the choice that if they were in the pipeline before the code amendment happened, then they can take advantage of rear yard occupancy, rather than landscaping, whichever is to their benefit.
Were you given that choice, Mr. Guilfoyle?
No.
Okay. So what? You're saying they're being given the choice.
Right.
Was that incorrect?
I'd take
well, we did have a conversation. Yeah, we
I'll
did
go
have a
with 40.
conversation with Len, and we did tell Len to check into landscaping to see if that was to their benefit.
Okay. So I stand corrected.
Who's Len?
Len is my partner.
Okay.
I'll go with the 41.5.
40, which is our max there that we normally do. And C, in this area, it is up against a school parking lot, the rear.
I couldn't agree more, Mr. Chairman.
1.5%, I'm really not that, it's not a concern to me. But I'm only one member and vote on this board.
Well, you're two, in fact. You speak for both of us, sir.
Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted, sir. Have a good holiday. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy holidays to all.
So long. Next application, number 742-23G's Property LLC, Giaquinto Brothers LLC, permission to extend the less restrictive use into a more restrictive district pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-415B, Residence A District, south side of Pioneer Drive, approximately 270 feet west of North Thompson Drive, through lot to South 2nd Street, Bay Shore, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
For the applicant, G. William Germano Jr., 4250 Veterans Highway, Holbrook, New York. Also present with me is Raul Cortilla of DMB Engineers and Architects. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Applicant seeks a depth extension special exception permit in connection with the proposed construction of 2 warehouses on 25 lots owned by the applicant. The properties are located on the south side of Pioneer Drive in Bay Shore. 24 of the properties are in the Industrial 1 zoning district. One property, Lot 11, tax Lot 11, is zoned residential. Lot 11 is a densely vegetated gore strip with mature trees and heavy brush. The remaining 24 properties are vacant land, but currently used for the storage of trailers, heavy machinery, and equipment. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you to orient you to the site. So we'll first start with a radius map. Please let me know if you don't see it.
Mr. Germano, you're impressing the heck out of me.
Okay. So now the top of the screen would be the west. So to the west would be Heartland Golf Park. So the blue is showing the 25 lots.
Right.
And the subject parcel for this application is essentially the sliver of land identified as here.
Where it's that blue sliver?
That blue sliver.
That's it.
So that's it. So, and this here would be the encompass the entire project. The entire development.
So,
All right.
I'm sorry. Did you covenant or are you landscaping? Or is that buffer?
It is going to be strictly buffer.
And is that covenanted?
It will be.
By what do you mean it will be? Is that
Well,
part
we
of
haven't
it?
gone through formal site plan yet.
Okay.
And this is the first step. We've had conversations with the planning commissioner and principal planner about the project.
Okay.
We've gone through various renditions of the site plan, but we have not submitted for formal site plan yet.
Okay. I didn't know where you were in the process. That's why when you say it will be, I wasn't sure. So
Right.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Thank you.
Mr. Germano, just a couple questions following up. The property to, I guess that would be the east. Are these residential homes? That would be in the brown. What are they?
All right, one moment. So I'm going.
Mary, I'm sorry.
Back to the other map.
You want to go back? Okay, sure. All right. So here is the residential. Here's where you're talking about.
Wait. No, wait. First, go back to the other map.
I'm sorry. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
I can't see anything, so I'd like to just see so I can see who's talking. I just have a.
So you have to exit full screen view.
Oh God, I don't know how to do that.
Natasha, you tell us when you're ready. We'll wait.
I apologize. I don't know how to do that either.
On the top.
Here we go. I'm back on. All right. Thank you. Sorry,
Are you good?
I couldn't see who was talking. Yes. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Wexler. Mr. Germano, I'm looking at the map and the brown, which is on the east. Are those residential homes? What is that area?
Yes, those are residential homes.
Those are residential homes.
But there's gonna
Okay.
be all
Now,
buffered. That's it,
you
though.
want to,
It's gonna be all buffered.
pardon me?
It's gonna be all buffered. The westerly side of that residential district is gonna be strictly buffering.
Okay.
That
All right,
little
well-
blue strip is all buffer.
All right, buffering is good, but are you moving into the buffered area?
No, and I'll show you.
What are you doing?
I'll show you that on the concept plan. So
Wait, just hang on before you show me on the permission to extend a less restrictive use into a more restrictive use. What do you, I just didn't pick up. What are you doing? Are you moving into the buffered area? What are you doing?
we are seeking to extend the zoning district line to incorporate the gore strip. So
What
that-
happens, Mr. Wexler, is because of there's a split zoning, the higher zoning prevails. So they're stuck with, even though like theoretically you could have 99% commercials or industrial zoning with a 1% residential parcel.
Right.
That triggers your whole, so he's just looking to make the area uniform and to protect against any encroachment against those residential houses that you are concerned about, that we're all concerned about. They're willing to covenant that it solely be buffer. Is that correct, Mr. Germano?
Yes.
All right.
I just want to know what will change if you were living in the residential homes on the buffer. What will change for those homes?
It'll be, the buffer will be improved. There'll be a
How will it be different if we grant this?
It'll only be different in that the buffer is improved so that the residents will have a better buffer. There'll be a 6-foot stockade fence and will supplement the areas of the buffer that need to be supplemented in order to ensure that that the berm is sufficient.
So you're putting a berm there and a fence,
Will the
right?
activity that this company does be drawn closer to or permitted to now operate closer to the residential neighborhood? You're not
site-
doing this to help the residents. Go ahead. I'm
If
sorry.
you can see now, I'm sharing the concept plan.
We see it.
Okay, so I will just quickly go over this so you can see what we are seeking to accomplish. On the right side of the screen, closest to Pioneer Drive, is Lot A. That contains 5 tax lots. We are proposing a one-story industrial building about 70,000 square feet. Lot B incorporates the remaining tax lots, and that would be a 117,000 approximately square foot building. Now, as part of this application, certain roadways will be abandoned.
I'm sorry, just hang on right there. So, do you need a variance for that building?
No,
Do you need relief for that building or any portion thereof?
No, it's
not as of today.
Okay. Okay.
So the parking,
sorry, go ahead.
the parking facilities would go up to the berm and no further. Now, the existing, in fact, I just want to point out, here's a cluster development over here where those 3 new homes are. We are actually coupling the existing gore strip with an additional berm so that it'll be improved to be a 46-foot to 50-foot berm between that cluster and the parking facilities. If we head further south, the berm widens until it reaches 46 feet. So the homes will have the benefit of the narrowest point is 30 feet. So the homes will have the benefit of a 30 to 50-foot berm.
What is the benefit to the applicant? You're not doing all this to enhance the residents. You would do nothing if you didn't
yes,
have
okay.
to.
Oh, the benefit.
What benefit does the applicant get, and what do they intend to do with that benefit? I don't know.
Increased FAR.
Yield, Bill.
So
Okay,
If this landscape berm was in the possession of the county, as is the Gore, as it continues south, they would have to buffer to it on their own property. It is their property, but if it were not, they would have to buffer to it.
it'd be a 25-foot buffer.
as opposed to,
Well,
30 plus are gonna have 30 feet.
Well,
plus.
as opposed to a row of parking.
Yeah.
So it translates to yield. Not much, but some.
all right, I'm still grasping. Maybe somebody later
Well,
on can
I
explain
think
it
the
to
key
me. I don't
concern that you have, Mr. Wexler, and that I think we all share, is that we want to make sure that those residential parcels are protected, right? And I think by offering the superior landscaping and buffering, I think that goal is accomplished, if that makes any difference to you.
And no, it does. We're all in agreement. However, we need, what guarantees do we have? Obviously, the applicant hasn't gone through planning yet. So when we're told, and legitimately so, quote, it will be.
Yeah,
how do we know that translates from, if we grant this variance, to the planning?
Well, it's on the record, it's on a record that the applicant stated that Mr. Messina asked him if he was willing to CNR the buffers, and he said, yes, he will.
So he'll have to covenant that. That's going to be a condition. That's a condition of our grant, Mr. Wexler. We can make
as
it.
long as we put it in our grant very specifically.
Sure. And
Because
then if he has
I don't know,
any
just
issue,
because a board member. No, I was going to say, I don't know, just because a board member posited during a hearing that therefore becomes binding, and who goes back and reads the record to see? So as long as we
you're correct. And making it a
Make it
covenant makes
part
it
of
also
our findings.
enforceable under the code as well. So it's an excellent point. And that's why we can do that and resolve that issue.
Okay, you comfortable with it, Mr. Wexler?
Yes, as long as, when Mr. Germano finishes his presentation, as long as we can get more definitive on the record what that buffer is and what it will consist of.
Well, sure.
I think that's in the plan that's before us, is it not? The documents before us?
Yeah.
But, okay, as long as we put it, because as you know, Vinny, you were the former town attorney. This is not like the stamp plan that planning stamps and then everybody agrees. That is the condition. This is just being shown to us what's proposed.
Right. And so we can refer to
Pardon me?
refer to it as set forth in the plan submitted to the Board of Appeals dated September 20th, 2020, or September 2020. And we can incorporate that by reference so that we know exactly what we're going to get.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application?
Yes, we do have two attendees who I've promoted to panelists, but maybe they don't want to be heard. They're just listening.
Mr. Cotilla and Mr.
That is the project architect.
Mr. Omar De Paz.
So I received a phone call this afternoon from Iris Pineda, who was going to register. She did have concerns. Oh, let's see, we have somebody chatting. Oh, Raul, you're asking me what I would like you to do. I think you're the one working for the applicant. Go ahead, you want to say anything? Okay. Yeah. I don't need you to do anything, but stop writing me in the chat. Ben, we'll start video later. So I don't think Ben wants to say anything either. I think Ben might be a property owner nearby. And Omar De Paz, if you can hear us, you'll have to unmute yourself and or start your video.
Anyone wish to be heard in this application?
Let's just be sure. Nobody's raising their hands.
Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant the application subject to the condition that a covenant be recorded, that the landscaping will be effectuated and maintained in accordance with the plan that's before us, dated September 2020. And I'm sorry, I can't read. Who's the engineer on this, Mary? Do you have it?
Raul, you want to raise your hand and talk?
It's D&B Engineers,
Thank
330
you.
Crossways Park Drive.
Okay, D&B Engineers. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
There's a signature on my plan. So that is my motion,
Dated September.
2020.
Got it.
Give me a second. Anyone?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a great night and happy holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Next application, number 743-20, Brian Riley. Permission to erect a roof over porch 6 feet by 25 feet, a 1-story addition 4.5 feet by 6 feet, and a 2-story addition 4.5 feet by 53.36 feet, leaving side yards of 13.27 feet and a 2nd-story addition 25.54 feet by 47.12 feet, leaving a side yard of 11.53 feet instead of the required 14 feet each. Total side yards of 24.8 feet instead of the required 28 feet, and floor area ratio of 31.89% instead of permitted 25%, to leave detached garage 24.7 feet by 24.7 feet, having a side yard of 22.06 feet instead of required 10 feet, and a height of 17.5 feet instead of permitted 14 feet, to leave above ground pool having a side yard of 1.36 feet instead of required 10 feet, and to leave a driveway on the side property line not having a required setback of 4 feet. Residence B District, east side of Roosevelt Avenue, number 99, 234.55 feet south of Terrace Street, Sayville, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Leo Pazinski, architect for the Rileys.
How are you?
100 Clinton Avenue, Mineola, New York.
How are you tonight?
Yourselves?
Good, thanks.
The Rileys are also here.
Welcome.
Brian Riley, 99 Roosevelt Avenue, Sayville, 11782.
I'm Karen Doan, 98 Roosevelt Avenue, the across the street neighbor from the Rileys.
Okay, good. Once we get through the application, we'll see if anyone wants to be heard on this. Go ahead, Mr. Pazinski.
All right. So we have a number of issues here. And so just wanted to state that the pool has been removed. I had that on my plot plan when I submitted it, but they left it on the variance notice by mistake. So that pool has been removed.
Would you like to amend the application?
Please, thank you.
Moving forward. We'll take a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application amended, go ahead.
All right, and so we have a number of issues here regarding existing construction that was done prior to the Rileys purchasing the house. The garage that you see there now was built in 1980. Mr. Riley has some photographs from back in the late 70s and early to document that construction, as well as be able to see the existing garage.
It is on a CO too, sir.
Right, that's a different garage though.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Riley's, this lot is a through lot from street to street. It's one of the few in the area. So the original garage, when they purchased the house, was further back on the lot off of Willett. If I can just show, sorry, I didn't scan it yet, but you see the lot.
Yep.
Yep, you see the garage all the way over on the Willett side. So that's the one you have the CO for. And then back prior to the purchase of the house by the Rileys in 2004, that garage that you see there now was built in approximately 1980. When the Rileys purchased the house, the prior owner gave them basically a diary of all the work that was constructed. And in that were the photos of that garage footing and foundation being poured. And so we're kind of stuck with a garage that we didn't take care of. Listening to prior applications, I understand that it's also a concern of ours too. We can't just say somebody else did it. But I just wanted to point that out, that the Rileys did not construct that garage. Because it's larger than 500 square feet, it is part of the FAR, throwing us over quite a bit. The proposed construction, like to do the house, as many over there are, only about 20 feet wide. We're adding a small 2-story, 4.5-foot addition by the length of the house, as well as building on top of the house, going straight up from the wall on the north side, straight up on the front, and then just the 2-story on the south side.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the second story goes on the side of the neighbor's house where they have their asphalt driveway, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And so as part of the application also, that driveway was also constructed with the garage when the garage was built in 1980. So our application is just to add more bedroom space, a growing family, and they're going pretty much straight up from what's there now. The side yard setback is minimal. 28 is required. We have 24.8 with our new construction. The porch is only 6 feet out the front, still leaving a front yard setback of 28. Since it's only 6 foot, it's not part of the FAR. So I'd like to see if we can address the garage issue as well as the driveway issue, or answer any questions the board has at this time.
Well, you do have, you have some proof that this garage was built in the 80s regarding that's the height?
Right.
Yeah, we have pictures that were taken in 1980 of pouring the foundation and the footings, and actually show the garage in the back.
Did you have them with us, or you don't have?
Yeah.
Them?
So, oh, can I share my? Okay. So,
Please.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Let me just make sure.
All right, this is out of control now. Everybody's sharing everything with
Please share
everyone.
your screen.
My goodness.
You're just
Yeah,
jealous.
right?
So yeah, I am just because I don't know how to do it. Sir,
I'm
how do we know these pictures are from 1980? Are they dated?
You're gonna note the hairstyles and the.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna give you that because it's the best answer of the night.
I graduated high school in 1979, and I had that hair.
Yeah, okay, so I graduated in 1980 from high school. So
cut off denim jeans.
You're not going
the
to be
whole
able
picture.
to fool me, sir.
Miss
Bordy Bond,
Pissarro,
Bordy Bond Live.
I can't share my screen. Can you grant me the ability to share my screen?
Yeah, you're a panelist, so you should be able to.
Yeah, it says I can't share while you're sharing.
Oh yeah, you have to stop sharing, man.
There we go. I'm done. I'm done.
I'm telling you that for years.
All right. Okay, so this is the garage the day we bought the house. Okay.
Yeah.
I am looking. My faces are in the way from my where I could go to the next picture.
It looks like it's
That
date
is-
stamp.
That is a picture of a picture. That's them digging out the footings.
Right.
That's the inside of the garage to the other garage, and here you will see him digging in shorts. That is 1980, I believe.
So this is a family audience here tonight, okay?
Yes,
Just
well,
please.
that's kind of family. We're in Sayville. This is nice. Look, so I mean,
I don't want to know what goes on in Sayville now. I'm sorry.
I didn't pay these guys, and we didn't stage this, but this is, this is not 5 years ago. I'll tell you that.
You could tell by the photo quality.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so those
my
are the pictures we
goodness.
had that we got from the former owners.
I know
can't-
there are some detached structures that have the height of the height that you're asking for in the area, especially on that up and down that block. A few of them also.
Yeah,
And you can't
there's plenty
unsee
of-
things. Go ahead.
there's plenty of houses on my block that also have the same driveway setback and side yard setback for the garages as well. 109, 105
Yep, I know the area well.
down. Yeah,
Grew up right around the corner.
good.
Over there, so. And so
You are one of those guys in the picture, Mr. Chairman.
I probably am one of those guys.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
I
thank
still
you.
have those shorts, Mr. Messina. Be careful.
Mr. Chairman, please. I've yet to eat tonight.
So you're stating, your design professional was stating that the garage is bringing the floor area ratio up over 30%?
Yes, sir.
the way that I understand it is that any garage over 500 square feet is added to the FAR. You know, we have one of the largest piece of properties in the neighborhood. So, you know, I didn't think it would be a problem until we realized that when we submitted the plan that the garage on the deed and the garage on the survey were not the garage that's there. And I had a word with the lawyer who did my closing. I should have caught it, but I would have never closed if the garage wasn't on the CO.
Gotcha.
Oh, there was a garage on the CO, just not that one.
Yes, not that one.
Yeah. So you're there. It's just a shot. It's just about 100 square feet over the 500 with the dimensions on that survey that we have.
Poses no problem to me, Mr. Chairman.
30%?
I'm sorry, was that me?
Either you or your design professional, any possible, we you know, the code says 25. We grant up to 30 religiously, and especially a conforming neighborhood. Any way to keep it at 30%, the FAR?
The addition is only 4.5 feet that we're adding on the south side by the 2-story. I mean, if we did pull it in a foot by the 40 feet, 50 feet, we could take 100 square feet off, but
it defeats the purpose. Yeah.
The house is only 25 wide with the construction. We didn't submit plans. We did design it with a hip roof, so it slopes down on each or
What
four
does
sides.
the area hold?
Sorry?
Do you have any precedent of anything over 30, Mr. Wexler's trying to get at?
Is there anything over 30? Is it otherwise a conforming neighborhood?
No, I think all of the lots are half the size of our lot. So I wouldn't be able to answer that question. We're building a larger house because we have 10,000 square feet.
Why don't we give the applicant a little time, Mr. Wexler? Because again, we're all prejudiced by Ms. Ryan not being here. She might have been able to enlighten us.
Right. That's okay. Why don't we adjourn and
Reserve.
Reserves. Leo, did you tell us what the FAR would be without the garage?
The FAR without the garage would bring us down to 28.8%.
The garage is only 100 square feet over.
Right. That's what's killing them.
That's what's
clearly. Yeah. That's
I'm
the
sorry.
difference.
Yeah, correct. You're correct.
All right.
I mean, we could go down and do the math, but if you look all the way down Roosevelt Avenue, they're all 110 feet deep and 50 feet wide, 1-story houses. They all have to be pushing 30 FAR.
Well, that's what we're going to find out. Okay. I mean, and that's the last piece of information we need. And it's nobody's fault. Unfortunately, people get sick, and this is.
I didn't even catch that part. Sorry.
Yeah. Normally our planning representative who's here, she's sick tonight. So otherwise we would have that information for you. So, Mr. Chairman, unless there's someone else who wishes to be heard, I would make a motion we reserve decision until and give anyone, either the applicant or we can reach out to planning ourselves a little time to provide us with that information.
I agree with you. Does anyone else wish to be heard in this application? I know there was a Miss Karen Doan, I think it says D-O-A-N-E.
Yes.
You spoke up earlier with your name and address?
Yeah, you know what? I just wanted to hear it. I'm fine with everything. I just wanted to kind of participate.
And have you been there for a while? And maybe you can help age the detached garage?
You know what? I'm here about almost 20 years, so I can't.
But
yeah, I mean, it's been like that. Yeah,
Plus, Ms.
been like that for a
Pissarro,
while.
Ms. Doan, wait a second. Let me handle this. Ms. Pissarro, she's far too young to remember 1980.
Oh, thank you.
That's how you make friends, Ms. Pissarro.
That's right. Thanks, friend.
No one else wishing to be heard? Any board members have any further comments or questions?
Hi, I'm a neighbor on the south side.
Wait, you have the same last name.
Hey, I still could be a neighbor.
Tell me you're not a relative trying to sandbag their application now.
They spelled my last name wrong. No, but obviously here in support. He is my brother. We do share that backside yard there, and obviously with two growing boys, that, I don't know if you could tell, that big melon on top of his head, he's a 6'5" dude with two growing sons. So as big as possible.
So
without
they need that extra 100 square feet.
Oh, yes.
Just
space
for
for
headroom.
sure.
Just
But
for headroom.
obviously, if they need to wait on whomever to bring up those numbers, and I guess that's what it'll have to be.
Yeah,
But
you know, by law, we have 62 days with a reserve a file, but we'll do the best we can to get information as soon as possible. And,
cheers.
On your way.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Further questions, Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
I think I made the motion, reserve decision, and even give the applicant, if he wishes, a week or two to submit his additional information if we can't get it from planning first.
Second.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Application reserved. Have a great night, all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great holiday. Next application is number 744-20, Aerotech Industrial LLC. Permission to install 2 facial signs where only one is permitted, each having a height of 29 feet instead of permitted 18 feet. Industrial 1 District, northeast corner of Johnson Avenue, number 565, and McCormick Drive, Bohemian, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, your name and address for the record, please. Anyone?
Unmute.
Someone.
Everyone, you have to unmute your side. I moved in 2 people.
I see 3.
Yeah, Patrick Curtis is going back out. Sorry, Patrick, I moved you in early.
It's terrible when you tease people like that. They get in, they see the promised land, and then you boot them.
Aye. Okay. Al, can you hear us?
Hello?
Oh.
Hi.
It's Tony McNeil from Sartorius. Can you hear Al?
We can hear Tony. We cannot hear Al. He's muted still.
So I am Tony McNeil. I'm Facilities Maintenance Manager for Sartorius Group, North America. We currently reside at the location. Our businesses are at the location. And Al is from North Star Signs. He's going to give you any information you need regarding the signage.
All right. It seems that he's not muted anymore. So Al, can you hear us?
Al?
All right, Tony, it's all you, buddy. Let's go.
No pressure, Tony. No pressure.
So this is the first time. Thank you very much. Hope everybody's having a nice evening so far. I enjoyed watching. What would you need from me? You should have the sign application permit.
Yeah, we do.
You're seeking permission to install 2 facial signs where only one is permitted, right? Each having a height of 29 instead of permitted 18.
Yeah.
Why do you need 2? Let's start with that.
So the way the building is designed, I believe originally you would look at Johnson Avenue would be, I guess, the frontage of the building where the front entrance is. But the way the building was built, they don't give you any opportunity to put a sign on the front because of the architecture that the landlord put on. So prior to, Branford Hall had a sign on the south and north side of the building. We're just looking to put up our sign, Sartorius sign, in the same location where the Branford Hall sign was.
Are they as big as the Branford Hall sign? I remember the Branford Hall signs.
I believe they do come up a little bigger, but they are the same size as the
what's a
building
little
we have
bigger?
across the street, 545-1 Johnson Avenue. You should see from the pictures.
What's a little bigger?
I don't know the original size of Branford Hall sign. I know that when you look at our sign at 545-1 Johnson Avenue, the way it measures out, we're going to put the same sign across the street. On the building face.
What does Sartorius do, by the way?
We're a biotech industry. So basically we manufacture and sell equipment used in the biotech industry.
So why is it important for you to have signs like this?
The signage for the building, it's our branding.
Okay, but why is that important? To the general public driving up and down Johnson Avenue, who cares?
Well, it's our application center and our North American headquarters. So if people are coming.
Okay, so you get one sign and you can always put that on all of your materials that show the one sign, right?
So honestly, I don't know how to answer that. I know.
Okay, neither do I. That's why I'm asking.
I'm not sure, Mr. Messina, that the two signs in this area, is that big of an issue, in my opinion?
Mr. Chairman, far be it from me to oppose a sign application. You know that. It's just, I just wanted to know if it was important for any particular reason. It doesn't appear to be, but you're right. It's an industrial area, and there's no residences, there's no
Does
sign
anyone
pollution. It's on the building rather than a freestanding sign. That's important too, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions?
Oh, you know what? It looks like Al did write us in the chat that he was unable to unmute because he was on the telephone. I think he was supposed to do that with a *9, but it doesn't sound like we need to hear from him anymore, right?
I think it's going swimmingly for him.
Good to be last.
Mr. Wex, I'll take a motion.
You're muted.
Yourself. You have to unmute yourself, Bill.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion granted.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great holiday. Stay healthy.
You too. Next application is number 745-20, Robert LaPlaca. Permission to leave 1- and 2-story additions having a front yard of 31.3 feet instead of the required 40 feet to leave pergola, not having the required 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, to leave a water feature having a rear yard of 14 feet instead of the required 18 feet, to leave a shed having a rear yard of 1.6 feet, pergola on a platform having a rear yard of 3.7 feet, patio having a rear yard of 1.6 feet, masonry counter having a rear yard of 1.3 feet, and driveway having a side yard of 0.5 feet instead of required setbacks of 4 feet each. Residence AA district, south side of Viking Court, number 6, 190 feet east, of Oakdale, Bohemia Road, Bohemia, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, your name and address for the record, please.
Good
Mr.
evening,
Chairman,
Patrick Curtis
Mr. Chairman,
calling.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse from this application.
Oh, you got it. All right. Pressure's on, Mr. Curtis. You have to sweep.
Okay, Patrick Curtis, thank you, Danny.
Good to see you, Pat.
Realty Group, 700 Lakeland Avenue, Bohemia, New York, 11716, for the applicant, Robert LaPlaca, and his family.
How are you tonight, sir?
Very good, thank you. I've my first Zoom ZBA hearing, and it's quite interesting. I have my own share of technical difficulties, I'm sure.
You're doing great so far, sir.
Well, so far, yeah. Many Zoom meetings, but not Zoom meetings in front of a board. So let's see. Would you like me to start?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to bring up a. Can you all see my picture here?
Not yet.
You have to share your screen.
Like I said, I figured I would have some difficulties here.
We have your survey marked out in front of us. We all have that, sir. So if you want to work from that.
Here it is. The you see this
lovely
screen now?
Yep.
With the picture, right?
Yep.
I kind of turned the survey and the hearing into a PowerPoint presentation. It kind of made it easier to show everything that we needed to do. Mr. LaPlaca bought this property. It was originally a house, a Cape, back in early 2000s, like 2003. And the subdivision was done by the prior owner. There was originally 2 homes on one lot. They demoed the other home. They left this one, and they created the subdivision, which created Viking Court. And this lot is wide rather than deep, very wide rather than deep. So it really doesn't have much of a backyard. It has more of a side yard. You can see that from the survey, where there's not a lot of space behind the house, but there's plenty of space to the east side of the house. Looking at the first item that we have then, which comes up on the on the matter before the board, the shed. We had an original ZBA back in 2010, which granted a 2.2-foot setback of the rear fence for a different shed, which was behind a different swimming pool. That shed is long gone. It kind of fell apart. Mr. LaPlaca replaced that with a plastic shed, which is there today. And he said it because of the need to put a walkway behind the house. It's only 1.6 feet off the property line versus the required 4 feet.
Mr. Curtis, if I may interrupt you, you have the shed, the pergola and platform, patio having rear yard of 1.6 and a masonry counter rear yard of 1.3 and a driveway having side yard of 0.5 instead of required setbacks of 4 feet each. I believe that that's the minutes. We see that a lot.
Oh, but Mr. Chairman, this is some nice presentation. I almost feel disappointed that I'm not going to see the whole thing.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, I'm only teasing. I mean, my compliments, though, Mr. Curtis.
I've only got a few slides.
Keep going, Mr. Lorenzo. You're on the right track, Mr. Lorenzo. Keep going. I know where you're headed. Finish it up. Bring it home.
We have we have a water feature having a rear yard of 14 instead of required 18. That seems de minimis also by the pool over there. We have the 1 and 2 story additions, front yard of 31.3 instead of required 40. The house holds them as it is. You're just going straight up, correct?
Yes, he maintained the front yard setback exactly where it was, extended the porch left and right. And if I could tell you, the Mr. LaPlaca lost his wife due to cancer, and he had to move his mother in, take care of 3 young children. And so he literally had to build the extension to accommodate his mother.
No
This
problem.
is what caused that. And he had to do that kind of very quickly.
Already
And
is.
he got permits for the second story.
I'm ready to vote, Mr. Chairman.
And you have a pergola that's not required 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, but you do have a large side yard. I think Mary can agree with me that we've seen in the past, and the board can agree with me that houses with not a ginormous rear yard, we can utilize some of the side yard. I don't find that to be too obtrusive, but the rest of the board would have to weigh in on that also. With that part.
Mr. Chairman, I join Mr. Wexler. I think we're ready to vote if no one wants to be heard.
All right. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Wexler, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted, Mr. Curtis. You have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Mr.
gentlemen.
Curtis, that was really a nice slide presentation, sir. My compliments.
Thank you, Mr. Messina.
Next application, number 746-20, Robert and Adrina Nugebauer. Permission to erect a 1-story addition, 8.2 feet by 14.8 feet, attaching attached garage to the dwelling, leaving a side yard of 6.8 feet instead of required 14 feet, and to leave driveway having a side yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence B District, east side of Seville Boulevard, number 450, 480 feet north of Versa Place, Sayville, New York. Is there anyone here for the applicant? If so, your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Amy DeVito with Woodhull Expediting, offices at 1031 Main Street, Port Jefferson, New York.
Hi, Amy. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good. Let's take the case.
So I'm going to share my screen.
Everyone's so into sharing their screens tonight. I like it.
I
put a
know,
little
so
pressure.
also technically adept.
I put a
bet you
little
Mary
pressure
calls
on people
everyone
this
a-
afternoon.
Okay, let's see. First, I have to figure out how to share said screen. Oh, there's my emails.
Oh. It's a little invasion of your privacy there. Sorry.
I know, it's fine. Okay, so I just wanted to start off by showing you.
That's a great house.
That's the view from Mr. Wexler's porch.
Okay.
So Amy, if you hover,
There you go.
I got it.
got it.
Thank you, Mary. I actually had to practice this prior to this Zoom meeting today. Okay, so I just wanted to start by showing the board the floor plan that we're proposing. So if you could take a look over here where my mouse is, this is the addition that is attaching the home to the garage. The purpose of the addition is to create a mudroom area and to make access easy to go from the home into the garage. It is important to note that the garage will remain a garage. It is not being converted. As a matter of fact, the garage isn't being changed at all other than a roof line attaching it to the main dwelling if the board should so grant the case. The applicant is proposing to do a renovation in their home. They are doing a small rear addition on the south side of the house, along with the addition that I just spoke of for the mudroom. And then they'll be putting a dormer on the rear of the house above that addition.
So it looks like you're just kind of squaring it off, right? And putting on a dormer?
That's correct. So this area is the squared off part.
Yep.
And then this is the addition attaching the garage to the home.
Yep.
So, and I'll just show
The
you.
garage is going to stay a garage, you're stating, not living space?
That's correct.
That's going to be in the, if we so choose, that's going to be in the granting of this, correct? You okay?
Yes, and my client is willing to go so far as to put a covenant against the property that the garage will never be converted to habitable space if the board should see fit that requirement. It truly is just for the purpose of them being able to access their garage without leaving the interior of their home and going into the garage, you know, directly from an attached area of the home. And let's see what else I have to show you guys while we're having show and tell. Okay, so this is
That's what we have before us, man. All of
so
us.
this is a survey. So the blue area is the area squaring off the house, and that's where the one and two story addition will go to dormer the rear of the house. And then this yellow highlighted area here is the mudroom that will attach the home to the garage. So I think that gives a clear picture of what we're doing. And then I do have some photos of the house if anybody would like to see those.
We have some photos in the file too. I got some.
Yeah.
Oh, you have them, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I apologize.
Us peons, we don't get
I'm
that.
not using the Zoom stuff.
I just, I'm having fun doing this, so I'll just show you everything. So, okay, so this is the front of the house. You see the garage set back a little bit. And then this is a frontal picture of the garage. And that's the side of the house showing where the connection would be to the garage.
Great.
Okay. And lastly, I'll just show you the CO, which shows that
Because
the
you
garage has
can.
been there.
Yeah.
Because I can. That's right. This is just really going for it. The garage, which has been there since 1966.
Show and tell over yet?
Show and tell's over, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Does anybody wish to be heard? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Sullivan, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application
Are we,
granted.
is that granted on condition that the garage remain non-habitable
Yes.
space?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the condition, yes.
All right, next application. And
Thank
the
you,
fin-
everyone. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, man. Next application, our final one of the evening, number 747-20, Kelly Development, Inc. Permission to erect 32 senior citizen attached single-family dwellings, leaving front yards of 37.1 feet and 40.2 feet, instead of the required 50 feet each, to erect accessory building, a control building, leaving a front yard of 41.9 feet instead of the required 75 feet, to erect accessory building, a pool house, leaving a front yard of 56.2 feet instead of required 75 feet, to install pool and pool deck, leaving front yard of 46 feet and 40 feet instead of the required 75 feet each, to erect accessory building, a clubhouse, leaving a front yard of 68.3 feet instead of the required 75 feet, and a height of 26.5 feet instead of permitted 18 feet, and to install and leave fencing along 3 street frontages not meeting setback requirements, residency districts outside of Church Street between Sylvan Avenue, number 819, and Nichols Road, Bayport, New York. Anyone here for the applicant? If so, name and address for the record, please.
Yes, for the applicant, Andrew Garbarino, law office of William Garbarino, 40 Main Street, Sayville, New York, 11782. We also have one of our engineers here tonight, Matt.
Matt Elward from R&M Engineering.
How you doing?
We also have the applicant as well.
Mr. Kelly, that is, right?
Yes, Mike Kelly, there he is. Very good. Mr. Chairman,
Before you continue, just can we let the record reflect that I'm going to recuse myself from this application?
All righty. Mr. Garbarino, not to cut you short, but did this go in front of town board already?
Planning board and town board,
And was
yes.
this the plan that was approved by the planning board and the town board?
Yes, it was.
Boy, do you have an easy path tonight.
I don't know how to share anything on my screen, but
don't try.
Matt does, so.
Yeah, I can share.
But I just, as you saw, this is a huge parcel, 6 acres, frontage on 3 streets. That's why we have so many front yard setback variance requests. The main entrance is on Sylvan Road. The only variance we're seeking there is a fence variance. It's a front yard off of, I believe that is a 4-foot fence, and the decorative columns are 6 foot. We're doing that. I believe the board has seen these before. The 4-foot fence is done by code. It's allowed. The 6-foot columns is where we're seeking the variance on. They're purely decorative. It's trying to make the entrance look very nice. As for off of Church Street, we are looking for a 37.1 foot variance off of not the road. It's off of the 12-foot dedication or maybe dedication that the town might take if they want to widen the road at some point. So the variance is actually 49. We're actually asking for less than a foot variance off of that.
So Garbarino, the town board approved this. It's implicit in its grant to me anyway, that they believe this complies with all of the planning goals and objectives for this community. So
we have been, yes, through planning, engineering. This is what we came up with. This is what the planning board likes. I do know the planning department has written a letter. I don't know if Mary wants to read that. That might make this whole thing much easier than having you all sit here.
I think you already have what you need, but that's up to the chairman.
I believe we have it in the file, and if Mary has it in the file, I think we'll be all right with this to move forward. Correct, Mary?
I'd like to make them do a little more work, but that's up to you guys.
No, stop. You're a sadist.
I got everybody ready to screen. I got everybody ready to screen share today, so I might have put a little pressure on people to do so.
You did a great job, Mary.
Does everybody see Sean Colgan's memo to me? He wrote it this afternoon in support of the application.
Thank you.
He speaks specifically about how the lot has 3 frontages and it actually has no rear yard. So the board is very familiar with the difficult placement of structures, especially accessory structures on through lots that don't have rear yards.
Love it. Does anyone wish to be heard in this application? Does the board have any further questions? Mr. Messina, I'll take a motion.
Chairman, I move to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application granted. Merry Christmas, all.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a great night. It's good to see you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
Good luck,
It
Andrew.
was Mr. Alward that did it for you, though, Mr. Kelly. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Best presentation of the night. Not the best answer of the night, but the best presentation.
His ability to share a screen.
Oh, did he do that? I thought that was Ms. Passaro.
No, he could do it, though.
He could do it.
You'll have a great night.
Mr.
Thanks so
Garbarino
much.
did a great job. Good night.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
guys. Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye,
You too.
everyone.
Bye.
All right, we got a few to read in public session, right, Mayor?
We do. We have 7 accessory apartment renewals, and that will bring us, they are applications number 748 to 754, and we will end the year with that number, 754, which I just want to take one moment and tell you all, that is a pretty darn high number given the pandemic and the lack of hearings for about 2 months. We did really well because we were coming in at about 900 for the past couple years. So to be at 754, we're really just not far below 900. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work, Mary, in the office.
7 renewals for a period of 3 years from application number 748 to 754.
Make a motion. Who's making a motion? Take a motion, Dan.
I'll make a motion to grant those applications.
I'll second.
All in favor?
For a period of 3 years.
All in favor?
Aye.
right, application's granted for period 3 years.
What happened to the vice chairman?
I don't know. He left us.
He fell off the hearing.
He's
He
like,
thought we
I'm
were
out.
done. He thought we were done. Ran away.
Been
He
married
ran
for
when
20
we could stop him.
We have 3 reserved cases to vote on. Where the heck is he?
So why don't we just have Dan, you make motion, second them.
That's fine.
Okay.
We don't have Vinny.
Okay. Application number 489-20, Mark Fritz Polachek. In accordance with a proposed written decision dated December 15, 2020, the application is granted, subject to the condition that the lowest level of the dwelling above grade shall remain non-habitable space, and further, subject to the recording of such condition as a covenant against the property, proof of which must be provided to the board in the form of a certified copy of the recorded covenant from the Suffolk County Clerk. On motion of...
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Application number 415-20, Joseph Sampson. In accordance with a proposed written decision dated December 15, 2020, the application to leave the second-story deck having side yards of 11.8 and 11.6 is denied, and granted as to the driveway, having a side yard of 3 instead of 4. On motion of?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Application number 571-20, Brendan S. Malone. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated December 15, 2020, the application to leave the detached garage having a side yard of 4.18 instead of 10 is...
Motion.
No, is denied, and that part of the application seeking the garage not having 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling is granted, as is the driveway on the side property line. On motion of?
Motion.
Yes, it's particularly in this case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're really done, with or without Vinny.
He must have been hungry.
Maybe he had a Christmas gathering to get to. I'm sorry
Happy
we're not.
holiday.
I'm sorry we're not acknowledging it together, everyone, this year, but maybe next year.
All righty.
So we are finished for the year.
Hey,
That's
everyone,
it.
For the year. If anybody
For the
wants,
year?
if anybody wants to tell me any conflict dates for January and February or March, that would be great.
I'm going
Otherwise-
away.
Nowhere near that yet.
Yeah, I know it.
I'm
Well,
going
if you
away.
don't tell me soon, I might make you work every Tuesday.
I'm going away in February for a week.
I don't know if I'll be on the board. So I may or may not have a conflict.
Why, you're not, you're done? You're up, Mr. Wexler?
My term, yes, it expires the 31st.
Oh, I thought you had a couple more years to go.
No, I think, Mary, isn't it? I think this is it.
Yeah, we checked it out. I thought he had a few years also, but I guess there was
So did I. But
there was like a partial term in there, right, Bill? That
Yeah, weren't you like year to year?
no, what happened was I was year to year, and then I was given a term, but I had been carried over for about 2 or 3 years. So it goes back to the original date. So I had 5 years, but I think 2 or 3 of them were provisional. So you don't get 5 years from that date, it gets backdated. So,
All right.
We'll have to talk to Angie about that.
Again, Matt, we won't see you back in January, Mr. Wexler.
I'm sure we will.
yeah, I hope I'm here. I have fun. What would we do to
You yelling at me.
right.
It's only done through love.
All right, so I'll make a motion.
Anyway,
to
it was-
adjourn the hearing.
It's been fun.
We got to make a motion to adjourn the hearing too, right?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Good night,
Thank
guys.
you.
Night.
Happy holidays.